Good morning and welcome to today's webinar about Salesforce Chatter and the Service Cloud. My name is Robin Daniels and I'm Director of Product Marketing for Salesforce Chatter at salesforce.com. Today you'll see how the Service Cloud with Chatter empowers you to resolve customer cases much faster than ever before and how you can take your customer service to the next level. We have two great speakers lined up for today, Fergus Griffin, who's the VP of Product Marketing for the Service Cloud at salesforce.com, and Dan Petlon, CIO of Enterasys. Fergus is going to show you how Chatter and the Service Cloud revolutionizes customer service. He's going to give us an awesome demo. And Dan is going to show you how Chatter is helping Enterasys respond quicker to customers, both internally and externally. We're going to end today's session with an open Q&A, and so you can have your questions ready for that. Or you can also ask your questions online during the webinar in the online chat. With that said, I'd like to welcome our first speaker of today, Fergus Griffin.
Great. Thanks a lot, Robin. So we're really excited here today to talk about the effect that Chatter has now on customer service for Service Cloud customers and indeed any organization that wants to take advantage of these capabilities. I want to start with our safe harbor statement. As most people here probably know, Salesforce.com is a publicly traded company, and as such, you should make your purchase decisions about our products based on the currently available products in our price list, etc. You may be seeing some things in this presentation today that are not generally available, but please refer to our safe harbor statement if you're unsure about any of these terms. So we're going to start with a very quick recap, and for many of you here who may be familiar with Salesforce.com, you may have seen some of these slides before, but it's a quick 2-minute recap of what Salesforce.com is all about. First of all, as you know, our mission is really to be a driver, a catalyst, and evangelist for cloud computing. In the 60s, obviously, mainframes were the predominant platform for computing. Moving into the 80s, client server really came to prominence and was something that really was probably on most enterprise desktops and workplaces around the world. And now we're starting to see with the advent of enterprise cloud computing, a whole new wave of computing. And this is kind of like the next wave. You can see we've got 20 years separations almost in these different phenomena. And enterprise cloud computing is really now the wave that we're experiencing at this point. Where we're seeing it is in the applications themselves, and as Salesforce.com has proven, obviously, the Salesforce automation is one of the first applications that really proved at the point that business applications could really be successfully deployed in the cloud. And it's not just Salesforce, obviously, companies like Citrix and Intuit and Workday are also bringing other applications to the cloud, HR, payroll. These types of applications are all great examples of how enterprise applications can now be run successfully, safely, securely, scalably within the cloud. And it's not just applications. About halfway through this evolution, if we consider that cloud computing, the wave kind of as such began maybe 10, 11, 12 years ago, halfway through this wave, we saw that it wasn't just the applications, but actually the fundamental platform itself was moving to the cloud. And obviously Force.com is Salesforce's entrant and capability in that space, where we see that customers find that they can deploy and develop applications 5 times faster at half the cost. And we're not alone there. Obviously, companies like Google with their App Engine, Windows with Azure, Microsoft with Azure rather, and Amazon's EC2. All of these are examples of platforms moving to the cloud. And obviously, more recently, we see companies like Facebook with their Connect platform, new forays into how the cloud can be a really strong player for presenting platform capabilities. And now, most recently, we're starting to see that collaboration itself is moving to the cloud. If we think of the amazing meteoric rise of some of these social networking platforms like Twitter and Facebook, collaboration itself on the consumer side has been something that's really taken off within the cloud. And now what we're starting to see then within the enterprise, collaboration is something that's also moving to the cloud as part of this next shift. From the 80s, we saw work group computing with solutions like Lotus Notes and Novell GroupWise. And then in the 2000s, obviously, we saw solutions like SharePoint and Glue and file sharing, all of these kind of being kind of the traditional ways that the people viewed collaboration as being done. But now we're looking to take the lead from companies like Facebook and Twitter, because they've essentially cracked the collaboration code, so to speak, the way that people want to collaborate, to stay on top of things that matter to them in a useful way. And that's really what we're here to talk about today in the context of customer service. So when we sum up the Salesforce offerings, obviously, we have the cloud infrastructure, which is kind of our secret sauce. It's the multi-tenant capability that is the underpinning of our applications. And then the next layer up, we have our whole development platform, Force.com, which gives basically organizations the ability to graphically and quickly build applications without all the headaches that they've traditionally had of on-premise software. So instead of having to worry about compatibility of different layers in your stack and security and scalability, you can leave all that to us. Basically, just open up a browser, build your app, and leave all those headaches to the cloud platform. And now what's new here, obviously, is the collaboration platform itself, being able to inject some of these new social aspects into your existing enterprise applications. So the idea of having profiles and status updates and being able to follow what matters to you in feeds. All of these are new capabilities that Chatter is bringing to the table to really make the real-time cloud a dominant force in how applications can be delivered to really enable collaboration at the next level. Here today we're focusing on the Service Cloud, which obviously, as most people probably know, is Salesforce.com's customer service and support offering. And it brings together the traditional channels of customer support like phone, email, and chat, and marries them together with these newer channels of customer service like Google Search, for example, online search, and social media and self-service. So this is the way we typically summarize the situation that we see a lot of organizations in today. For customer service, a lot of this has traditionally meant responding to customer phone calls. Most organizations have spent a lot of money focusing on the contact center as something that is primarily driven by people calling in on the phone. And organizations have spent millions of dollars, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours in building and managing these existing on-premise solutions. But the problem is that these on-premise solutions are not geared to connect to where customers have now moved to. Customers are more likely to Google for an answer than they are to pick up the phone to call a 1-800 number looking for support. They're more likely to go to a Facebook community to see if they can get their answers from people they already know, or tweet their issue or request to see if anybody else has seen a similar problem. Or they may even go just to a community site online to see if any experts out there actually have the answer. So we're seeing that the customers have moved and the traditional on-premise contact centers are not in position to connect with these new channels. That's exactly where the Service Cloud 2 comes in. And if I can quickly just go across the capabilities here just to give a refresher for those of you who are not familiar, Service Cloud 2, like I said, brings together those traditional customer channels like the call center, email, and chat, and brings to the table an integrated knowledge base so your service agents have knowledge articles at their fingertips to provide one-and-done service and first call resolution. But not only that, we also provide process management capabilities. So, for example, you can create very flexible call scripting capabilities where your agents can follow a script, whether it's for problem diagnosis or cross-selling or upselling or responding to an issue. All of that is part of the Service Cloud. We also provide robust capabilities for contracts and entitlements, so you can manage your customer service level agreements right here within the Service Cloud interface. On the self-service side, if you're interested in reducing cost and call deflection, we have our customer portal capability, which can embed community functionality and crowdsourcing capabilities if you want to empower your community to help answer each other's questions. We also enable partners to share their knowledge in a customer service context with you, so you can use partner knowledge to answer your customers' questions as one overall solution as opposed to a separated response from two different entities. And then we mentioned Google Search. So, for example, any of your customers out there who are looking for answers about your products can go straight to Google and find, for example, a public knowledge base that you've made available. This is all part of the Service Cloud. The final two pieces here are the social aspects of it. So, as I mentioned, Service Cloud 2 enables you to join the conversation on channels like Twitter and Facebook instantly. And the new piece we're here to talk about today is how Chatter really gives you the next level of capability within your contact center to provide, amazing customer service and support. Just a couple of bullets about Service Cloud and where we are right now in the market. Gartner recognizes us as one of the leaders in their quadrant for customer service and call centers. We have small, medium, and large customers. Some examples are people like Qualcomm, Starbucks, Wells Fargo, and Google. We have approximately 9,000 customers and approximately 4 million customers. That would be for users of our customers' portals, for example. And we also like to point to our product innovation. As a cloud-based solution, we can roll out innovation very quickly, and not just roll it out, but our customers can take advantage of it. They basically can just switch on new functionality as we make it available without any of the headaches of a traditional on-premise solution. But all of this is now getting even better today when we talk about Chatter and how it influences customer service. One of the things we've noticed is that with all these new customer service channels being now open to service organizations, the way that customers can ask questions is really changing. Customers can just go online onto Twitter and they can just tweet their issue. They don't have to pick up a call. They don't have to pick up the phone and call directly into a call center. And this adds stress to a service organization for a couple of reasons. First of all, the issue is now out in the open. It's not just being discussed on a one-on-one phone call with your service agent. So more people know about the customer issue or request that's being placed out there. But secondly, the customer placing the request or the issue doesn't really think about who may have the answer. They just tweet it out in the open. And now the onus falls onto the service agent to be able to find the answer to this problem. And what we see is that the service agent now has a bigger challenge. They have to struggle to collaborate across departments to find the answers to their issues. They could be within a different department, like a finance group, or a sales team or a marketing team. And it's really up to the service agent to quickly find this answer no matter where it lies, and respond back out to one of these new channels in short order to get the customer issue resolved. And what we've seen is that a lot of service organizations and contact centers are not really geared to be able to collaborate with these other departments within the organization. So that's where Service Cloud 2 combines the chatter to really give you these next generation capabilities, to enable your agents to collaborate with experts within the service team or within other different groups or departments across your organization, so that your agents can get answers in real time, close complex cases faster when they need extra levels of expertise. And that's really what we're going to show here in this demonstration. I'm going to switch over right now to the Service Cloud application so you can see exactly how this looks. So right now you should be looking at my screen, and right now I'm logged into the Service Cloud as Mark Nolan, who is a customer service agent. And you'll notice, just to orient you quickly to what's on the screen here, along the top we have these traditional channels of support I mentioned, like phone, email, and chat. But we also have access to things like Twitter conversations that are going on about our products and customers and our company in general. And we also have access to the discussions that are going on within Facebook. But let's look right now what Mark has on his screen. He has some key dashboards around what's going on within his service organization. For example, the use of knowledge and which different channels are most active. But if we click into Mark's chatter feed, what we see is that Mark has a great bird's eye view of what's going on from different people that he needs to collaborate with across the organization. So if we scroll down here, we can quickly see that he has an update from someone in the marketing team, for example, here, about new collateral that's available for a new promotion that's running. And this is something that Mark may need to reference with future customers in upcoming calls around this promotion. He also has access to a recent update that's just been posted in the chatter feed automatically, because a knowledge article that he often uses has been updated. So chatter is automatically notifying him about this change. Further on down, we can see that chatter is also keeping Mark up to date on this customer who's just recently upgraded to Platinum support. So Mark knows that now, as one of his top customers, he has to pay extra special care to this customer and the service they provide. But more importantly, you can see here, we can also get updates from external systems. In this case, we have an external shipping system that's notifying us about a change in schedule of delivery just due to some adverse weather conditions. And this is something also that Mark might want to be kept aware of, so we can perhaps put in a courtesy call to his customer and let them know about the situation. But as you can imagine, for most agents, one of their biggest concerns is being able to track the cases they're working on. And in this case here, chatter is actually notifying Mark about an issue that's happening within one of his top cases. He's being alerted that a milestone has been missed in responding to this customer. So Mark can drill in and find out what's actually happening. So right here, Mark can click straight into the case to find out the issue and investigate, see if he can move it along. So what we're looking at right now on the screen is that this is a timeline you can see here, a 24-hour timeline. This is our service level agreement, in a sense, to be able to respond and resolve a customer's issue within 24 hours. And in the center here, you can see that there's a red bar indicating that a milestone has been missed. You can see our timeline has just advanced past it. We haven't been able to respond or reproduce this customer's issue. So now Mark can investigate further, because there's actually a chatter feed on this case. So Mark can click into the chatter feed to actually find out what's happened so far. And here is the actual feed of activity that's happened around resolving this customer case. First of all, the initial activity began on working on the case by Mark himself. And then Laura, one of our sales reps, weighed in and said, listen, we've got an important deal here with this customer. We really need to resolve this so that we can proceed with the opportunity discussions. And then Mark has been trying to work with the customer here. The customer sent him a screenshot that Mark has uploaded into the flow. And this is another one of his efforts to actually try to resolve the problem. And even another agent here that Mark knows, Josh, has weighed in and said, well, here's something that might be useful. But that has turned out not to be the fix to the problem. And so the team has worked to try to resolve the issue, but they haven't been able to resolve it successfully, and now they've missed a milestone. So a couple of things we can call to attention here is that we have 3 followers of this case currently. Mark, that's the person I'm logged in as right now, Laura, the AE, and another agent, Josh, who's trying to help out. So at this point, we're kind of stuck, and Mark can choose to escalate the case here. So that's what I'm going to do right now. After looking at this chatter storyline, so to speak, this feed around the case, I can see what's happened, and I can decide it's time to get more people involved. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click escalate, and as soon as I do, workflow rules kick off a business process to add additional people within the organization, our VP of support, our QA engineer, our product engineer, critical people who may be able to help resolve the issue. So now when we go back to the chatter feed for the case, you can see that we've added some new people. These people have been added by virtue of escalating the case here. So one of the key people here who's been added is Elliot Connor, who is our engineer for this product. And the workflow rules have determined that he's somebody who may be able to help resolve this issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to Elliot's viewpoint to see what Elliot sees now as somebody who's been added to this case. So what's happened here is if I now refresh the page and I show Elliot's chatter feed, you can see that now Mark has escalated the case here, and Elliot can drill straight into the case to find out what it's about. And so Elliot can drill in, and he can see that it's an issue about mini projectors and getting them to work at the right resolution with a set of laptops. And so this happens to be an area of expertise that Elliot has. And so Elliot can now dive into the chatter feed, and he can, right here in the chatter feed, add a fix that he's been working on. Here is a fix that he's been working on, and he hasn't had a chance to upload yet, but he's going to do it right now here within the chatter feed. So everybody following the chatter feed will see this, anybody following the case. So as soon as it does that, Elliot has now posted this fix into the chatter feed for the case. And now if we go back to Mark's view, we're back on our service agent's view, you can see that right here is Elliot's new response posted into the chatter feed. This is essentially the solution that will now fix the problem for the customer. And by being able to pull in these people using the chatter feed, Mark has been able to quickly solve the solution by getting the right people involved from different organizations across the company. So we can view the fix here if we choose to. Here's the fix that's come from straight from Elliot via his post. And this really gives Mark what he needs to close out the case and get the service case closed and get the customer back on track. So that's just a quick run through of what it might look like for helping accelerate the closing of a case, getting help and collaboration across the organization. I'm going to go back to the slides here now for a moment and just do a quick recap, and then I'm going to hand it over to Dan. First of all, just some exciting news. As you may have heard, we have over 250 Service Cloud customers in the private beta for Chatter. That's really exciting news. People are already starting to experience some of these capabilities of collaboration in the context of cases and service and support. And really, really stellar feedback from Chatter customers overall. The types of things we're hearing from these customers are not the types of things you would maybe traditionally think about in the context of business applications, but there's a lot of passion and excitement around this. People saying like Chatter is amazing and it's truly a game changer, revolutionary, and killer app. All of these words are things that really give you a sense as to the excitement that is palpable around Chatter. We've even seen some enthusiastic posts on sites like Twitter. Here we can see Tim Leake here reinforcing that he views Chatter as something that revolutionizes the experience in Salesforce.com. So we're really excited about the power of what this can do, particularly in the Service Cloud context. Here's a few other quotes from some of industry experts and publications around the importance and significance of Chatter as it relates to the overall business applications market. At this point, I would like to hand it over to Dan Petlon from Enterasys, and I'm going to ask Dan a few questions about what Enterasys is doing, and then Dan is going to show us an awesome demo of how Enterasys is using Chatter today. Dan, are you there?
I'm here.
Dan, thanks so much for joining us today on the call, and I'd like to just start out with just a couple of questions to orient folks to who Enterasys is. Can you just give us a quick description of what Enterasys does?
So Enterasys is a data networking vendor. We produce switches and routers and related software products.
Great, thank you. So to dive right into it, what are your initial thoughts about Chatter so far?
So I would say that I was a bit surprised at how fast it was adopted within the organization. Very pleased. It's turned out to be essentially zero impact for IT, and has added a lot of value to impact in terms of work anyways. Has added a lot of value to the community as a whole, both on the sales and on the services side.
Awesome. Can you give our attendees today a sense as to how you're using Chatter today at Enterasys?
So we're again, it is what it is. A general collaboration tool. We had some requests. Oddly enough, about a week after we came back from Dreamforce last year and got our first look at Chatter, we had requests from the sales side of the house for some sort of social media internal to the company, and we said, hey, we've got just the thing. So we had the opportunity to get in on this private beta. We jumped on it. In the sales side of the house, we are using it for deal collaboration. Sales management can monitor all the deals of a certain size that they're interested in, and can watch as those progress through the stages. All of the sales teams, all follow each other and can throw out quick status updates or questions about things. A good example from the sales side, I follow all the local account execs, because they're the ones where I can go to a quick customer visit or have a customer come in and talk to me if they would like. And I saw a new opportunity get created in an account that's local to us here by one of the AEs, and it just so happens that I know the CIO at that company, and I was able to quickly go back, when I saw that opportunity open, go in and chat on that opportunity, and let the sales guys know that, hey, I know the CIO. If you want an introduction at a higher level, I'd be happy to do that. On the services side, so more relevant to today's discussion, we use the Service Cloud both internally and externally. And certainly as CIO, I'm more in tune with our internal use. In internal meaning, we run our own internal help desk on the Service Cloud. I get a dashboard every morning that shows all the kind of classifications of open tickets. One of the things that's on there is all the open tickets for executives, and I will go and follow all those tickets and can watch them progress and make sure that the execs are getting the appropriate amount of attention. Soon to come will be the same thing for the field. We feel that the field deserves extra attention because they're not in an office, and they're out often remote and at customer sites. We want to make sure they get extra attention. So we're going to do the same thing for folks in the field.
Great, that's really great examples. Next, can you talk about maybe any future plans you have for Chatter expansion beyond the current usage?
So we are also using it in custom cloud apps. We have a couple of getting to be fairly widely used custom applications, and there'll be more. One of those is a project management, maybe that's a little bit not quite true, project status tracking application. And any projects where I'm the executive sponsor, I follow those, and I can see updates of the tasks and things that are happening in those projects. So that's one that's relatively new. There will be things that are future Chatter features that you're really going to expand this. It allows us to have expert groups and to kind of confine discussions around a given topic, and that's going to really help us in the area of competitors and marketing activities and those types of things. We do have most of the company following the executive team, and all of us on the executive team are trying to do some sort of a general update every day. Doesn't always happen, but we're trying to do it, and that's really kind of just fostering that sense of community and getting more people in the company in tune to the things that are going on.
Great. Well, listen, Dan, they are really fascinating ways that you guys are already taking advantage of chatter capabilities. I think for our audience, it would be great if we could show them some examples of what you're talking about. Are you ready for me to hand over the controls presentation so you can show our attendees some of what Enterasys is doing?
Sure.
Great. So let me just do that right now. And I'll just find you here. And yeah, just give me one moment here. Just 1 second. Okay, Dan, you should have control now.
As soon as it comes back here, I should be all set. All right.
So in a moment, our attendees should be seeing your screen just any second now. Great. Dan, fire away.
Okay. So this is my home screen. The application that I work out of is called Service Desk. That's kind of my home application. Not that I don't go to everywhere else, but you can see on my main chatter feed here there is a post from me that was actually on a service case. So if we'll jump over quick, this is on our service desk case. One of the executives has asked for more permanent in-focus machines in our conference rooms. So we have been doing a lot of stuff on that. Last thing I posted this morning saying that our finance guys wanted cost justification before we went ahead. Most of the IT management is following this case because it is a executive level case. That's again example of what we're following. If we look back here on my home screen again, one of the things that's happening this week that's a big deal for us here at Enterasys is that the largest networking industry trade show is underway this week in Vegas. And it's a big deal for us every year, and we have a lot of folks out there, and there's a reasonably constant stream of chats about what's going on out there in Vegas. And you can see the second thing here in my feed, Greg Breb, who's actually running the network out there for Interop this year, has announced that the show kicked off. Next, down here we have Doug Hyde is one of our support engineers that supports our Wi-Fi tools, and he just threw out a general thing. He was interested in what tools folks are using for doing some Wi-Fi support, and and almost immediately there was a couple of responses.
Dan, if I could ask you, if you could maybe scroll down a bit on your page, because I think you're speaking to some things that maybe our attendees can't see. But
oh, sorry.
If you could just scroll down on your chatter feed, if that's possible, it might. I think we're only seeing the top 2 posts from yourself and Greg right now. Maybe
okay,
that would be great. Thank you.
How's that? Are we seeing more posts now?
Well, just give us 1 moment here.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that's fine, Dan. I think you can just scroll down as you speak to each one, just so it's make sure it's in the presenter window. That's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
drill in here to another one of the users, Doug High, who's one of our support engineers on our Wi-Fi products. Doug's been relatively active, and again, he's asked several questions here about tools. We scroll down a little bit, you see all of Doug's case activity. There's another post here where Doug was saying he was looking at some trace data from a customer related to some DHCP stuff. There was a big flurry of activity earlier today around iPads at Princeton University. There's been some a bug discovered in iPad, the way they handle network addressing. There's been some discussions around that. You can see that here in my feed. I hope you guys can see that.
Hey Dan, this is Robin.
Yep.
We can't actually see what's going on your screen. I don't know if is the play button pressed on your screen? And okay. Can you press pause and maybe press play again just to see? Because we're still seeing your home screen right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
I actually Robin, my GoToMeeting is frozen.
Oh, okay, maybe that would explain what's happening. The GoToMeeting is frozen for Dan. So maybe we should let's control back, Fergus. I'll let you do that. And Dan, if you just want to maybe talk a little bit about how the chatter is impacting how you're responding to customers, both internally and externally, just verbally.
Okay,
that'd be great. Thank you.
So we've again found that chat is really allowing us to get much quicker responses because we get the information that we're looking for faster as we do our as people chat asking for information. Again, we were trying to show some examples there. Doug asked about some tools and what people were using in support to accomplish a certain task. He got very quick responses. The support guys, particularly in the Service Cloud and internally my service desk, help desk guys, they live out of Salesforce. They're not certainly they use email, but they're not in their email as much as they are in Salesforce working tickets. And to have that constant flow of information in the tool where they live is really speeding things up, and it's allowing you to get feedback from your peers or from other people that might be able to help without having to do a lot of blast emails. People are generally we find not as responsive to email, but particularly folks that are familiar with social media that use Twitter and Facebook and those types of things. This has been a great tool because they like it and they use it and have really latched onto it. And I think that's for any tool like this, any IT tool, adoption is kind of key to success. And this is something that we didn't have to do a lot of promotion. We sent a single email pointing to those little 1.5-minute videos that Salesforce produced about chatter in the Sales Cloud and chatter in the Service Cloud. Asked people to keep it business related, and that was it. We sent that single email, and all the adoption has been just viral after that.
So how long did it take you to turn on chatter for your customer service desk?
It really took. It's a click of a single button, so it took seconds really to turn it on. And then again, we sent that one email, and that was it. We've done a couple of things maybe since then to kind of try and promote a little bit. Telling people, hey, here's interesting folks that you ought to follow to try and encourage more use. We have we've added a couple of your Salesforce Labs add-ons, including suggested followers that have helped kind of for people to find their way and find who it is they should be following. That's really helped.
Well, that's great, Dan. I mean, I know you've only been using chatter for about just over a month now, so I really look forward to checking back in with you in a few months to see what kind of impact it's really having on your company. But thanks for sharing that information with us and the rest of the audience today. I appreciate it.
Sure thing.
So let me just round off today's call with a few tidbits of information that will help you going forward. So the Chatter beta program is still open. Chatter is scheduled to go live later this year for all of our Salesforce customers. And Salesforce customers will get Chatter as part of their Sales Cloud or Service Cloud or Force.com licenses. You don't have to pay anything extra to get Chatter. It will be included in all of those licenses when Chatter goes live. So the Chatter beta program is still open. All you have to do if you want to be part of the beta program is send an email to iwantchatter@salesforce.com. And this is for customers only. If you're interested in Chatter and want more information about Chatter, or maybe you're just kind of checking out what it can do for you, go to salesforce.com/chatter, and you can find all the information there. Or you can also go to our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/salesforcechatter, where you can see what our customers and early adopters are saying about their experiences with Chatter. Also, as Dan mentioned on the phone, we've launched recently a new category on the App Exchange just for Chatter-related apps, and there's about 20 applications in there that will make your Chatter instance even better by allowing you to auto-follow people, auto-follow cases, finding people in your company that has good information, and so on. Go check it out. There's some great applications out there that are being developed by our developer community. I also just want to mention that this is the second webinar in a series that we're doing on Chatter. The first one was 2 weeks ago, and you can go find that replay on YouTube if you want to see the first webcast that we did. This one is the second one, and the next one is coming in mid-May. Actually, it's on May 12th. It's going to be about Chatter and the Force.com, how you can build applications that are inherently social, and how those applications built on Force.com become instantly social and collaborative with Chatter. And then later in May, at the end of May, we're going to have a webinar on how Salesforce uses Chatter, because we are also, of course, one of our early adopters. We've been using Chatter now for just over 2 months internally. It's revolutionized how we communicate and how we actually focus on cases and deals and how we respond to our customers. You'll want to hear how it's changing how we do things at Salesforce.com. With that said, I want to open up now the call to Q&A. So if you have any questions, let's hear them. You can either put them in the chat window or you can post them right on the phone if you want to. We've got a lot of questions coming in through the chat window. So I'm going to ask Fergus some of these questions, and just keep them coming if you have anything to add. So Fergus, thanks so much for taking the time to share information about the Service Cloud and Chatter with us. So one of the questions that came in is about the escalate button that you showed. How you can escalate a case. Is that standard in the Service Cloud, or is that something that you would have to go in and code yourself?
That's something that we for this demonstration we put in place. It's really relatively easy to do, and you can define the business rules according to what makes sense for your organization. In this case, we defined some logic, and we said which of the organizations would make sense to have representation from if we escalated a case. And so in this case, we chose that the button would basically use Apex triggers basically to add some key people from different roles. In this case, we said a VP of support, a QA engineer, a product engineer, and a product manager. So that was just what we chose to do that, and it's really something that can easily be customized.
Great, and I know it's also on the roadmap for a future Chatter release to have that automatically inside of Chatter.
Yes.
Another question here is, would the Chatter on a case replace the private case comments?
No, it would not. I think also one of the things on the roadmap, I think, for the future is to instantly incorporate Chatter comments straight into a case, and that's one thing we're looking at in future versions. So I think we'll see kind of potentially a convergence over the long term as to where Chatter comments eventually get consolidated into.
Great. Do you have any customer examples in biotech who's using Chatter for service activities?
We'd have to check into that, and we can respond to that specific customer. Off the top of my head, I don't have one, but I'm sure we can get back on some of those.
Sure, it's still early days, and we just have about 250 customers in the Chatter beta program.
Yeah.
Do Chatter feeds update in real time, or do I have to go in manually and check each page and update that page?
So we might need a bit more clarification around this, but anytime you land on the page, when the page is refreshed, obviously you see that all the most recent posts that have come in from whoever you're following, or the items you're following, or the external systems that you're following as well.
Okay, great. Dan, I have a question for you from one of the audience participants. What is the size of your company, Enterasys, and how many service desk employees do you have?
So we have Enterasys is about just a little under 1,000 employees. To give you a rough idea, service desk employees. Really, all of IT kind of rotates through and serves as our service desk function. We have about 40 folks in IT that serve that internally. Externally, our product support organization is about 75 people.
Okay, that's great. Thanks so much for that. Again, just to another question is, what licenses does Chatter come standard with? So just to reiterate that Chatter is now part of every license that Salesforce.com sells. So whether or not that's Salesforce for sales or for customer service or for application development with Force.com, you will get Chatter as part of that license that you buy at no extra charge. A good question about Chatter and the Service Cloud. Is something that you have to monitor 24/7?
Not fully sure I understand that. I mean, obviously, in all cases, it's up to you whether you want to activate Chatter, right? So, but if you do choose to, you can choose what you're following. The whole idea of the Chatter model is that it's similar to what you would do in Facebook. You choose the things that you're interested in or that are important to get your work done. So, for example, if you're a service agent, staying on top of the specific cases that you're working on, or the different experts from across the company who help you get answers to trickier questions. And those are the things you can determine what's in your Chatter feed and what you're following. And so it's kind of up to you how many things are in your Chatter feed and what you're following. Just like if you're familiar with the Facebook model, you can elect to be updated about certain things or not. And that's kind of the beauty of the model. It's kind of it lets you choose what's important to get your job done.
Great, thanks for that. What about Chatter and customer portal users? How does that work together?
Right now, that's not on the roadmap for this current year. The plans are further out for us to incorporate Chatter on the customer portal. It's not in the immediate term.
Okay, great. Another question here I can see is Chatter a global functionality, or can you restrict it to a certain number of users? So Chatter for a company is an all or nothing switch. So it's controlled at the implementation at the org level. So either you turn on Chatter for everyone in your company, or you turn on for no one. But you can certainly control which objects get Chatter enabled. So once you've turned on Chatter, you can go in as the administrator and turn on Chatter for, say, cases or for opportunities and so on. You can go in and choose that on an individual basis, and which fields on that object actually can chat back to you. There's a lot of questions about the beta program. If we send an email to iwantchatter@salesforce.com, how long does it take to get into the beta program? So the turnaround time is not instant. We usually we turn on, we activate customers into the beta program in batches. Usually that can take a week or two to do that. So just have a little patience with us as we activate more Chatter for you as you send your request to us. So with that said, I think we're going to end the call now. I want to just thank again Fergus Griffin and also Dan Petlon for taking the time to speak to us about Service Cloud and Chatter and how it's really empowering the next generation of customer service. Thank you so much for all your questions. If you have any follow-up questions, please send an email to iwantchatter@salesforce.com if you want to be in the beta program, or you can also always email Fergus Griffin at fgriffin@salesforce.com if you have any questions about the Service Cloud. Thank you so much for your time, and